You've got to take big chances in order for the potential for a big positive outcome.
Weekly Challenge 5, Duna landing. Primary, land a vehicle crewed or uncrewed on Duna. Stretch, land a crew on Duna, then return them safely to Kraken. That's the one we're going to be looking at doing. Starting with kind of a basic rocket. We've got the STOs to start it off, and then a hydrogen ball there, which is going to be the main of the ship. The rest of it is essentially to get orbit and to get it over to Mars. I say Mars, but I mean Duna. As you can see, the first part of this is very wobbly, very bobbly, very shaky all through the launch. Took a fair bit of manual work to keep it steady. I put that down to the hydrogen ball on top, to be fair, and just the length of it. We've had a bit of Kraken drive with this ship further on, as you'll see. The kind of the last part of this video is everything going wrong, I guess is the best way to say it. So this is where the first problem started. The first issues, kind of the Kraken drive stuff, where the ship just wouldn't orientate itself in the right direction. As we was trying to get to Mars, I had to do this a couple times, but the nav ball would just fly really out of control, or it just wouldn't actually SAS onto the target properly. This is only the second time I've gone to Duna in any KSP game. Never done it in KSP1. I've done it once in KSP2, but when I landed, I unfortunately got eaten by the sands of Duna as one of the early bugs just falling through the planet. Aside from that, getting the ship to Duna wasn't too hard once it was actually doing what I wanted it to do. We got there alright, as you can see. We retrograded in okay. We attained orbit just fine. The real issue came once we were landed on Duna. First time using hydrogen, so it was interesting to see how they work. I've got 3 hydrogen engines on the end of that giant ball there. The fuel capacity is just massive on that ball. More than enough to do this and to get home again, and to probably do quite a lot of other things with that much fuel. It takes a long time to do the burns with these engines, not like the Methalox engines. We did put some nice lights on this ship, but I quickly realised that I didn't put a solar panel on it. With some of the previous ships that I've built, they seem to have unlimited energy on KSP2, but at least with this ship the issue's been resolved and we drained the battery straight away, so we turned the lights off and we had to wait for the engines to go again before we could get some more power. That didn't really affect the landing. The landing was pretty good. As you see now, we come in, we've got parachutes. I'm not certain what is the preferred way to land on Mars, but I packed a few parachutes just in case. And then and my engine, which again I had plenty of fuel by the time I got down there with the parachute, slowed down nicely and touchdown. Happy days. And our little Kerbal comes out. Gorga, this one's name is. He's happy to see the red surface, and even happier to get back in the ship and head home. So this is where we have a change in tone, a change in music. Props to whoever made that picture. I found it online. I think it's very fitted with the Kraken, the Kerbal fighting him off. First of all, what you don't see in this video is as I took off, the other vehicle, my command vehicle, was in suborbit. So for some reason it decided to plummet itself into Mars. We corrected that again, fighting off nav ball issues, coordination issues with that. Got it back into orbit again, and then spent some time with the lunar module, the landing module, getting our orbits right so we could rendezvous. The landing unit itself was fine, no issues with that. It was just the command module. it seemed to go funny as soon as the landing module separated from it. I'm not sure why. I've had a few ships do that, where you go back to the original vessel, the command module, and it's kind of off center. Your camera is focusing on a part of it that isn't the center, and that seems to throw it all off. It seems to throw off its ability to spin and maneuver as well into different positions, which is what we had here. Once we chase it down for the rendezvous, we get close. We'll come up to that now. The rendezvous itself didn't really happen. We couldn't twist the ball to make the docking port face us, so we had to fly around it, trying to get the best position to get straight on and dock with it. Unfortunately, once we did that, we couldn't actually dock. We just kept bouncing off. I took off RCS, I took off SAS, the kind of things that used to be the issue in KSP1, and none of them helped. We just couldn't dock. At one point I managed to rest the vehicle on top of the command module, and I should have got out then and just walked over and got the Kerbal in, but I thought, no, I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep trying to get this thing to dock, figure out why it can't dock. Maybe it's because I put the docking port on a fuel tank. Maybe that's the issue, or maybe it is just a bug. There, see, I'm resting it on there now, and that sat on there quite happily for a while. But yeah, eventually we get the Kerbal out, we get him over, and we get him in the module. So you got the two guys, the two Kerbals inside the main command module. At one point we're pushing into it so hard we're probably changing the course of it here, just driving into it as hard as we can with nothing happening. Here we go, the Kerbal, he walks around a little bit and eventually he gets in there, but unfortunately we can't reorientate the command module, so we can't actually get him back to Kerbin. Yeah, so we managed to land on Duna, and we should have been able to get a stretch goal as well, but unfortunately either due to poor build or due to bugs, I'm not sure what, we couldn't do it. But if anyone does see what the issue is here and I've missed it, please let me know, so I don't make it again. Challenge 5 complete. Next on to build a capybara.